Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. We are from Group 5. We will present about the assignment application of Mathematics and Statistics Business, ATF 31303. My name is AFIFAH MAISARAH binti AZMI. My metric numbers is A23A2461, and here is our group members. My name is
ERIKA ADILA binti AWANG. My matrix number is A23B1960. I will explain the introduction. Statistical data analysis, a key aspect of data science, involves data collection, organization, interpretation, and presentation, forming a foundation for informed decision making in business. By identifying pattern, predicting trend, and generating insight, business can gain a competitive edge. This assignment showcases the practical application of statistical method by analyzing a dataset of 1,338 life insurance records, which includes variables such as age, gender, BMI, number of children, smoking status, region, and annual insurance charges in Malaysia ringgit. Employing techniques like sampling, descriptive statistics, t-test, and ANOVA, we aim to uncover meaningful insight, demonstrating the value of statistical analysis in improving business strategies.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aqilah Omar and my matrix number 8238247. So, here I will present about the section 2.0 sampling and data collection. So, in order to select randomly some sample from the complete data set in this section before proceeding to further section. So, step 1, we will do this by writing down each member of our group matrix number and extracting the final 2 digits from each one. So, as you can see here, the list of our matrix number. So, step 2, identify the smallest and the highest number. So the smallest is 19, the highest is 71. So we will take 500 minus 90 equal to 481, and 500 plus 71 equal to 571. So we will take 481 cases from 571 cases. So, next, we will use IBM SPSS to perform random selection of cases for our step 3. So, firstly, we need to launch the program and pick data on the menu bar and choose select cases. Then, select cases dialog box will pop up. Then, choose random samples of cases and click sample button. Then, next, select cases random sample will pop up and fill the exactly box by number that we calculate before. So the smallest will be 481 and the highest will be 571. Then delete the remaining cases by delete unselected cases. Next, click OK to proceed to the new sorting data. After that, for step 4, we will clarify the sampling method that we use here, so we can choose to use sample random sampling, which is one type of probability sampling that consists the researcher choosing a selection of participants at random from a population. And last but not least, our step 5, we need to be restored. For further analysis, selecting save as from the file option will open. Then the save as dialog box will pop up, that allowing us to keep the sample safe. So next, we will move to section 3, descriptive statistic, which is started by 3.1, numerical descriptive measure. So we need to provide some numerical descriptive measure on a suitable variable. This can include the measure of central tendency, the measure of opposition, and the measure of variation. So as we know, to describe the pattern of the variable, the research can think about applying the mean and or the median. So here we choose to use the measure of central tendency. So to match our choice, we decide to use gender and age. So how to do it? Firstly, we need to click on analyze descriptive statistic to frequencies. Then insert variable gender into variable box, then click Statistik. So there will be frequency statistic pop-up for a dialog box. Then tick on median, mean and mode box at the central tendency part. Then click continue and OK. Lastly, SSPS will generate the output of the gender. Then, to complete this report of the mean and standard deviation of numerical number, so we will pick H to complete the describe overall. So to do this, click on Analyze, Descriptive Statistic, Descriptive. Then, as you can see for step 6, insert the variable H into the variable box, then click OK. Lastly, for the step 7, SPSS will generate the output of the descriptive statistic of H. Then, we will move to section 3.2, graphical representation. The greatest way to assist the reader understand the meaning of the statistic to portray statistic result visually. An additional feeder in SPSS which is allow the creation of graph is the analysis of graphic. So here we decide to use bar graph to present the gender category. For step 1, we need to choose graph and bar, two bar. Then step 2, the bar chart will pop up, then click sample and define. Then insert gender to category axis and click OK. Lastly, as you can see, for step 4, SPSS will generate this output of bar graph.
My name is AFIFAH MAISARAH binti AZMI and my material number is A23A2461, and here is part of hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing is a fundamental method used in statistics to make inferences about a population based on sample data. It involves making the hypothesis about a population and then using statistical method to determine whether the sample data support or refute this hypothesis. So, objective of hypothesis testing is it allows researchers to test about population parameter, which is like mean. It also provides a systematic framework for making decisions and evaluating the reliability of those decisions. Hypothesis testing will help in making inferences about population parameters based on sample statistics. Important of hypothesis testing is scientific research that is enabling researchers to validate or refuse theoretical prediction or hypothesis. Next, it is used in business and economics for market research, quality control, and decision-making processes. It also plays a vital role in clinical trials, public health policy decisions, and other social science is to test theories and hypotheses in psychology and sociology. It is having 5 steps to do a hypothesis testing and start with state the hypothesis, which is formulate the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. It is H1. Next, choose the significance level. It commonly set a 0.05 or 5%. Then choose an appropriate test statistic like t-test or ANOVA based on the data and hypothesis. After that, calculate the test statistic using sample data and compare the test statistic to a critical value or use a p-value to determine whether to reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis. Next, I will explain about the independent sample t-test. Independent sample t-tests are used to compare the means of two independent groups. The independent t-test tests the differences of dependent variables that are measured numerically between two samples, not per data. We are using the variable to do a t-test is BMI and gender. Then we are comparing the average BMI of female and male. To satisfy the assumptions of testing independent t-tests, we need to ensure that the data for each group are independent. The distribution of BMI scores are approximately normal, and that the variances of gender are similar between the male and female. Before proceeding with the independent t-test, we need to check the data for normality. Since the test is a parametric test, it expect to see relatively near to normally distributed data. And last, I will explain about the analysis of variance is ANOVA. ANOVA is a statistical method used to compare the means of dependent variable that are measured in numerical type between three or more groups to determine whether significant differences exist among them. It is commonly used when we have a categorical independent variable with three or more levels and want to assess whether this factor influences a continuous dependent variable. We are using the variable to do an ANOVA is BMI and region. Then we comparing the average BMI across different region. These tests help identify which pairs of group have significantly different means. Before proceeding with the one-way ANOVA test, we also need to check the data for normality. Since one-way ANOVA is a parametric test, it expects to see the data that are reasonably close to normally distributed. That's all for hypothesis testing.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NATASHA binti Muhammad ROSDI and my metric number is 82382442. Today I'm going to present on how to use the t-test. Okay, for the t-test, we will use the dependent variable that are measured numerically. For example, body mass index, and independent variable that have only two categorical, which is gender, which have male and female. And then after that, we have to construct the hypothesis statement. For the hash null, there is no significant mean differences between BMI and gender. And for hash 1, there is a significant mean differences between BMI and gender. So before doing the independent t-test analysis, we have to check the data whether it is normal or not. From the slide, we can see the graph which have been generated from the SPSS. From my left side is a male, from my right side is a female. From the graph, we can say that the data is a normal because it has shown a bell-shaped graph for each graph. Therefore, we can proceed with the independent t-test analysis. So, after checking the normality for the data, we can conduct the independent t-test analysis. So, from conducting the t-test and independent t-test analysis, the SPSS have generated the output that shown on the slide. From the slide, we can know that there is no significant mean difference between BMI and gender because p-value is more than 0.05. So the p-value that we get is 0.924. So we can conclude. So we cannot reject the hash null, which is there is no significant mean difference between BMI and gender. Okay, next we are going for the interpretation. From the slide, the table have shown that the mean and standard deviation for the female is 30.6, 30.6, 30.92, and 5.96, and for the female The mean standard deviation is 30.7 and 5.68, and the p-value is 0.924. Uh, the the p-value indicate that we cannot reject the H-null hypothesis, which is the male has higher BMI than the female group, because p-value is more than 0.05. Therefore, there was no significant mean difference between BMI and gender. Okay, for the conclusion, the independent t-test is being used to compare the mean difference between the BMI and gender. The normality and homogeneity of variance assumption need to be fulfilled so that the data that you get are accurate and trustworthy. Okay, for the t-test, we have to know that we have to choose the dependent variable, which is numerical, and independent variable, which is categorical, that has two categories, so that we can from the IV and DV we can apply the t-test. So that's all for me.
Hi, my name is BAQIS binti AZIZ. My metric number is A23B1519. So I will further explain about one-way ANOVA. One-way ANOVA is a statistical technique that compares the means of numerically measured dependent variable between three or more groups to see whether any significant difference exists. In this case, we use body mass index (BMI), which is numerical, and the four regions, which is categorical for the independent variables. The four regions include southeast, southwest, northeast, and the northwest. Firstly, we create hypothesis statement between these two variables. For the H-null, there is no significant mean difference of BMI between the four regions. For H1, there is significant mean difference of BMI between the four regions. Before further analysis, we have checked the normality test of the histogram respectively. From the graph, we conclude that all data between BMI and the four regions are normally distributed. After that, we proceed with the next step, which is to find significant difference. From the output obtained, the table shows p-value is less than 0.05, where we use the seed figure, which means there is significant mean difference of BMI between the four regions. But we don't know which region is different. So to identify that, we perform a post-hoc test to determine which region is different. After obtaining the post-hoc test table using two key tests, we summarize that Southeast region has the higher BMI of people. I had circled the Southeast part that shows the significant difference to the other three regions. Lastly, we provide the table of comparison of mean BMI between the four regions. From the table, we know that there is significant mean difference of BMI between the four regions, but from the post-hoc analysis, the Southeast shows more significant difference to the other three regions. Therefore, because of the p-value is less than 0.05, thus we reject H0 and accept H1, which is there is significant mean difference of BMI between the four regions.
Lastly, the conclusion. Our analysis of a life insurance dataset demonstrates the powerful application of statistical method in driving informed business strategies. By utilizing systematic sampling and employing decision, descriptive statistic, and inferential tasks like ANOVA and t-test, we investigate key variables including age, gender, BMI, smoking status, region, and insurance charges. This comprehensive approach revealed significant regional disparities in BMI and provided nuanced insight into the impact of smoking on health risk assessment. This finding underscored the critical role of statistical analysis in shaping precise and effective business decisions, particularly in optimizing risk management and pricing strategies within the insurance sector.
That's all from us. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation.